many of you right now work 2 jobs just to have enough money to be broke?
Did you know the character Chris Rock plays in the 2003 comedy Head of State is based on a real person? The character Chris Ricks is an ambitious, smooth-talking politician embroiled in scandal and legal trouble.
Now, if your child's school has old-ass books and brand-new metal detectors, let me hear you say, that ain't right. You got just enough money to get your broke ass home.
And the character is inspired by none other than Kwame Kilpatrick, the real-life hip-hop mayor of Detroit. Rock famously referred to Kilpatrick as America's hip-hop mayor, a nod to Kilpatrick's youth, charisma, and the way he embraced the cultural elements of the city. From his music to his fashion, Kwame Kilpatrick rose to power with promises of change and hope, only to have his career unravel as a series of scandals and legal battles that would forever alter Detroit's future. Kilpatrick was once seen as a political prodigy, Detroit's youngest mayor in history, a rising star in American politics, but his story would take a much darker turn. From public admiration to criminal conviction and eventually a presidential pardon by none other than Donald Trump. Today, Kilpatrick's name is synonymous with corruption, scandal, and a tragic fall from grace. This is the rise and fall of Kwame Kilpatrick. Dun dun dun! Detroit in the early 2000s was a city in crisis, grappling with poverty, high unemployment, and the scars of the industrial decline. In this vacuum stepped Kwame Kilpatrick, a rising star in the city's political scene. At just 31 years old, he became the youngest mayor in Detroit's history, taking office in 2002 with a promise to bring change, to clean up corruption, and to rebuild a broken city. At first, Kilpatrick's administration seemed like a breath of fresh air. He was charismatic, ambitious, but as with many political promises of urban renewal,
now it's time for all of us to rise up and begin our future right here, right now.
He built relationships with business leaders, attracted investments to the city, and raised the profile of Detroit nationally. But as with many political success stories, the public facade would soon crack. Beneath the surface, there was troubling signs. Kilpatrick's administration was becoming marred in allegations of mis.
When reporters pressed Kilpatrick on his own excesses, he lost it.
Hey, don't. Right here. Who is Carmen?
Come on.
And eventually, criminal activity. Part 2. The scandals and the text messages. In 2008, everything would come crashing down. A whistleblower lawsuit involving 2 Detroit police officers and their allegations of misconduct will lead to the exposure of a scandal that will ultimately destroy Kilpatrick's career. A series of sexually explicit text messages between Kilpatrick and his chief of staff, Christine Beatty, were revealed. These messages contradicted Kilpatrick's testimony under oath and exposed a cover-up of misconduct. The scandal was not just a betrayal of public trust, it was a complete unraveling of his entire political career.
Lied under oath.
Kilpatrick will later plead guilty to 2 felony charges, admitting that he had lied under oath.
Lied under oath.
Is on TikTok. Y'all should go follow her. In the summer of 2003,
his punishment? $1 million in restitution, 120 days in jail, and he had to resign from office. On the way out, he made this infamous promise.
And I want to tell you, Detroit, that you done set me up for a comeback.
The text message scandal cost taxpayers millions, tarnished Detroit's reputation, and left many people angry at Kwame Kilpatrick.
What had started as a promising political career was now tainted by scandal. But the scandal didn't end there. In 2010, a story emerged that would further tarnish Kilpatrick's legacy. A story involving the mysterious murder of 2 exotic dancers who were linked to his administration. One of those dancers' daughters is on TikTok. Y'all should go follow her. In the summer of 2003, 2 dancers, Tamara Green and another woman, was killed under suspicious circumstances. Green had reportedly attended a wild party at the mayor's residence. and rumors circulated that Kilpatrick had been involved in a violent altercation with her. No charges were ever filed in connection to the murders. The events raised serious questions about Kilpatrick's ties to organized crime and the culture of corruption in his administration. Though there was no direct evidence linking Kilpatrick to the murders, many believed that the violence was connected to his efforts to cover up a variety of illicit activities. This only deepened the public perception that Kilpatrick was not just a corrupt politician, but potentially someone who was willing to protect his power at all costs. In 2013, after years of legal battles, Kilpatrick was convicted on charges of racketeering, bribery, and conspiracy. He was sentenced to 28 years in federal prison. The fall of Kwame Kilpatrick has become one of the most infamous political stories of the 21st century. The scandal not only destroyed Kilpatrick's career, but it also had a devastating impact on the city of Detroit. In 2013, the city filed for bankruptcy. Many point to Kilpatrick's mixed management and corruption as a key factor in the city's financial collapse. In 2021, after serving nearly 7 years in prison, Kwame was granted a commutation by President Donald Trump. His release sparked renewed debate about his legacy. Was he a victim of a broken system, or was he the architect of his own destruction? Kilpatrick's post-prison life remains complex. He attempted to rebuild his public image and regain some semblance of the political influence he once held. But his legacy is forever tied to the scandal that brought him down. Kwame Kilpatrick's rise and fall is a cautionary tale about the dangers of power unchecked by accountability. His story is one of ambition, betrayal, and the darker side of politics. And though he may seek redemption, the shadow of his crimes will forever loom over Detroit, a city that hoped for change but ultimately suffered from the very corruption that it sought to overcome. Thank you for watching. If you want to explore more stories like this, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell icon for more in-depth analysis. ChatGPT wrote this for me.
For Grand Prairie, Texas.
You know, throughout the turmoil of 2008, not just in the city, but me and my wife, we wanted to find a place where we could heal.
Kilpatrick says he decided on the Lone Star State after he and his wife sought counseling from Texas preacher T.D. Jakes.
Texas is a place where a lot of people come for a new start, and so do we.
A new start and some privacy. Kilpatrick can't walk a block in Detroit without a handshake or a shout-out. But in Grand Prairie, Texas, few are familiar with the famous ex-Detroiter in their midst.
I'll post that full news story. It's like 25 minutes long. But a little side note, watch this. Also, whose idea was this? They was just like, hey, Scott, I need you to go down to the train tracks and film this little segment real quick.
These corporations stealing all the money. They stealing their money, they stealing our money. That's bullshit. Meanwhile, you and I, we steal a Big Mac with cheese. Next thing you know, we on death row.
Could forget this anti-media plea his mother made during his second run for mayor.
Turn off that television, y'all! Turn off the radio! Don't let nobody talk about y'all's boy!
Despite the negative press, Kilpatrick surprised everyone as he inched past Freeman Hendricks to win a second term.
How many of you work in a city you can't afford to live in?